Crime is a show where I, Rich Slaton, read a true story about lawbreakers.
And I, John Shefsky, stay in the moment like Eckhart Tolle told me to, and I listen to exactly what's being said, and that way I can riff on it because I'm fully engulfed in the moment.
I mean, you've been very obedient lately, but to claim that you stay in the moment,
I stay in the moment. I live in the moment, very present.
95% of what you do on the show is asking me what I said 2 minutes ago.
But that's me being in the moment enough to know that I don't know what's going on.
You know what's a good thing for this moment?
The music!
Crime
Is the show that starts now.
now. Like right now?
Oh, yeah, do your line.
Okay. Each week, Rich reads a real crime story. I don't know a word that rhymes with story.
And my homie John always has the hot riff. He really loves it when you send...
Don't send anything
them
to me.
him.
Don't you dare.
Crimepodcast@gmail.com.
Don't you send anything.
Label it John Shefsky. He loves them. Make sure the lighting's really good. What's up, criminals?
Hi, criminals. Shaloms, y'alls.
Oh, so happy that you're here again.
I'm so happy. Barry, I'm drinking the coffee you bought me.
Yeah, I
The riff fuel.
am super over-caffeinated today.
Flying high, bro. Cocaine.
And I'm getting real nervous that this caffeine is going to take me over the edge. And for that, I might need over-the-edge insurance from our good buddy Joe Erle at C3 Risk and Insurance Services. Our friend Joe. He's an insurance broker. What does that mean? He finds the insurance that you need for car, home, auto, dick accident, too much caffeine insurance, whatever it might be.
Any kind.
He's got you, dog. So
He's
go to
got you covered.
c3insurance.com/Joe or call him up at 619-233-8000 and get a policy with him. He'll give you a $25 gift card to Amazon.
That's right. Call him up the first time, and then when he says hello, just hang up and then call back again. It's just fun to do that.
You
Make
can
him
support
work.
him that way. You can also support our show by supporting our sponsors. Also, you can support our show by jumping on the Patreon.
Hit it up, folks.
Doing that Sticker of the Month Club.
Dude, Sticker of the Month Club. We're making fucking badass little stickers for you guys.
Some of you might be getting some dope Dot Your Ice Cream, Your Pie stickers coming your way right now.
You just told them what's going to be on the sticker?
Yeah, well,
they know.
It's in the mail.
They voted for
as
it.
They listen. Yeah,
They
yeah.
voted for it.
The people spoke, and that's what they get.
That's what they want.
So you have some boner episodes on there. You have some Sticker of the Month Club. So go on there.
Yeah, it's just great. And you guys can email us, give us ideas for stuff too, like for our other Patreon gifts. Like you guys are
we have some new and exciting things being developed for the Patreon. So jump on there, help us out. And enough of all that mischief and mayhem. Today, our guest is a friend of mine who I really enjoy, a fantastically funny comedian. He was in my favorite documentary about the restaurant business. It's called Waiting. And if you've ever seen that movie and worked at a restaurant, you know that the comedy is secondary to
It's a documentary.
100%.
It's 100%. And the people that come up to me, it's never people coming up to me going, "Oh my gosh, we were kind of like that at the restaurant I worked at." It's always literally
They're like, my busboy was a drug dealer.
Yeah, like big fat chefs walking up going, "Oh, dude, like one time I had diarrhea and I wiped it on a sandwich." And I'm like, dude, I don't want to. I know I played a chef in the movie and then I showed my nuts and I don't want to hear about your diarrhea French tip situation.
No thanks.
Criminals, put your virtual hands together for our good buddy, Skyler Stone!
Boom.
Yeah.
That was the best intro ever. Diarrhea, you yelled my name. Like, you can't ask for better.
And then you did devil horns with your hand right
I
away.
did, as if people could see me. Like, I'm like
super
doing.
dope.
No, but I was able to tell them that's what you did.
Media podcast.
I feel like they felt the devil horns that I did.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
It comes out through your voice.
Who are they, by the way?
The listeners,
Yeah,
the audience.
okay,
They're
gotcha.
the most important part of this whole thing.
John George Haigh.
John George Haigh
Was born on July 24th, 1909 in Stamford, Lincolnshire, England.
Oh, Lincolnshire. We've done some Lincolnshire. My parents used to live there. Oh,
Did
yeah.
that make him an Aries? What is that?
Lincolnshire.
I don't know anyone's shit with
What's
that.
the birthday again?
July 24th.
Is that like today?
That's the...
Oh, that was 2 days
today's
ago.
the 20-something.
Whoa. Did you do that on purpose? That it was so close?
No, I didn't, but now
okay.
it makes me feel really good. Also, that was the most LA thing you've ever said to me, which is, what's his sign?
Oh, by the way, I don't know anything about any of them, so I don't know where I was going to go after that.
It's your sign, baby.
His
Do what
parents,
you wanna
John
do.
Robert and Emily, over 40, were old for having their first child.
Old people suck. Can we just get that out of the way right now?
Seriously.
Fuck you if you're over 50, right?
That's the
Sorry,
Holocaust
Mom.
I'm waiting for. Old
just
people
old people?
Holocaust.
The old
Right.
Holocaust.
Oh, you're 64? Cool. Let's go right in this room real
That's
quick.
right.
Okay.
We still got gas left over.
Soylent Green.
Is that too dark?
Soylent Green.
Skyler just gave me the. That's
Hot
a little
out
too
the
dark.
Gate, guys. To add
That's
to
what they said at the
stress
Holocaust.
home.
Go on with your story.
To add to the stress at home, John Robert lost his job just a couple of months before their boy came into the world. But luckily for the Haighs,
But luckily,
Dad soon found a new position working in a coal mine 100 miles north. So the
Is
family...
But Luckily a porn name, by the way?
No, but it should
It
be.
should be. Seriously,
But
dude.
luckily.
Oh my God, I watched a reverse cowgirl with Butt Luckily last night.
Are you a
Oh,
reverse
you two
cowgirl, dude?
animals with your reverse cowgirl.
Are you a fan?
Oh, am I a fan? I don't even know how to explain what I am for
RCG?
reverse. Yeah, I'm more of an addict, but yeah.
The most Googled thing on my laptop is reverse cowgirl compilations. I just want to watch 20 different girls in a row bounce around, turned around the other way.
Oh,
You
seriously.
guys are playing Russian roulette with your cocks, and I pray for both of you.
Well, only
All
a
right, so
gambler is going to get
Go
that
back to
purse.
Butt Luckily, please.
Yeah,
So
please.
the family picked up and moved to Outwood, which was so small it didn't even qualify as a town. Instead, it was merely a pit village.
Man, fuck small towns, right? Small towns and old people. Go on with your story.
Built by the owners of coal mines to house their workers, pit villages were so named because they literally surrounded the pit where the coal came from.
Man, fuck coal. Am I right?
Seriously, what's coal ever done for anybody other than power machinery, keep people warm, and take care of communities all at one time in a cheap manner?
Yeah, good point. Fuck coal.
Outwood was isolated and desolate, but that was fine with the Haighs. The lifestyle fit perfectly with their faith as members of the Plymouth Brethren.
Oh, this is already headed into a okay.
Yeah, what's that?
Jesus.
Formed in Ireland in the 1820s, the Plymouth Brethren consist of two factions, open and exclusive.
Okay.
The Open Brethren are pretty similar to any other evangelical Protestant group. The Exclusive Brethren based their ideology off of a pamphlet titled Separation from Evil.
See, this is not where I thought it was going. I thought by open and exclusive, like it was couples that like stayed together,
Yeah.
and then other ones where it's like, hey, my wife's been over a couch. Do 4 of you want to come in here right now? I thought
good
that was the
swinger
open
story.
Yeah.
That'd
Okay.
be- I
Those
Already
18
disappointed, but
the
keep going.
1820s evangelical swingers.
It's fucking.
Hey, those people were sexy back
Hike
in the
up
day.
your pantaloons a little more. Show your world to me.
Are you trying to rouse me right now, bruh?
Did
So-
you just DMB this shit?
I did do that, bruh.
And a minute ago, I think you did Red Man, Method Man, didn't you? Before
That's
we
what I
started.
do, dog.
Yeah, dude, I was pretty impressed.
Separation from Evil maintains that evil applies to anyone not in the Brethren.
Oh, okay, so they're elitists and they're an exclusive club.
Applying the doctrine of separation, devout families mix as little as possible with others. No entertainment, no sports, and for some, like the Haighs, no magazines, books, or newspapers, just the Bible.
Okay, so
Wait, never? You can't read anything.
You read the Bible, in your especially not in your home. In your home, Bible.
Do you
By the
need
way, I love how
anything
you're
else?
like no magazines, like there was like Sports Illustrated in 18.
There were magazines in the 1820s.
What do you think people rubbed them out to?
Yeah, Life magazine.
Life magazine.
Playboy.
Life was not around.
Penthouse letters.
None of those were around.
I disagree entirely.
They had Living in the Old Days Weekly. That was a good one.
Yeah.
It just had pictures of wood and.
They had Hoop and Stick for House and Home.
That's right.
Was,
The I Drink Your Milkshake Quarterly.
Oh, that's right. Oh, dude.
That was an unprompted There Will Be Blood reference.
That was great. Oh,
Yeah.
we love a good There Will Be Blood.
Like the
read your magazine from over here. If you have a periodical, and I'm way over here, but I have a monocle that's very long, you see, I read your article.
The exclusives were so annoyingly devout that they endured at least 5 more splits through the years over theological minutia.
Oh, the groups broke off?
Yeah.
We know from previous crime stories, anytime you have a religion that has people in the group that are like, this strict religion isn't strict enough, crimes are going to happen.
Yeah, wait,
People
so
are going to
wait.
lose their mind.
Hey, your Bible isn't Bible enough. I'm out.
But it's so Bible. You have look at all these
No,
rules.
not enough Bible for me.
I'll add a couple rules.
It's a very unbibly Bible.
Don't go. I'll add some more rules. What do you want to add? Let's add a couple rules. We'll keep you in the group.
No shorts on a weekend.
We can do that. No shorts on a weekend. What else you got?
Oof. Skateboarding is a crime.
I'm not sure. A lot of our kids.
I'm out of here.
But okay,
I'm
okay.
with him.
We'll make it partially a crime. It's partially a crime to skateboard. Skateboarding is partially a crime. You can see the stickers now.
To keep his son from the evils and temptations outside, John Robert built a 10-foot fence around the property with no way to see in or out.
Is this an M. Night Shyamalan movie right now? Is that what's going on?
I think every movie is an M. Night Suge Knight
An
movie.
M.
That's
Night
right.
Suge Knight
M.
movie.
Night
It's
Suge
a
Knight?
really good idea.
Dude.
It's,
If
M.
they were
Suge Knight
co-directors,
was a
Suge Knight and M. Night Shyamalan.
it's like it's just some guy that keeps killing people, but in the movie he finds out he only killed himself.
Oh,
I was thinking of a literal agreement between them where the studio somehow pair them up, and Suge Knight just basically directs a movie through M. Night Shyamalan by threatening his life through every turn.
I see dead people. All right.
Ooh.
Go on with your story, you rapist.
Look, I'm not.
Is that what they call rap artists? Rapists?
I'm no Snoop Dogg. I have one impression that I do on this show regularly, and Snoop Dogg is not it.
Can I just tell you,
Who is it?
if
Alex Jones.
Let me hear it.
No, well, don't worry. He'll make an appearance.
Oh, God. An Alex Jones appearance. That's going to be a great sticker of the month.
That sounds like a planned improv moment.
I'm going to do a sticker of the month that just says
Somebody gets to prep more. I see how this show goes. He gets to read this, so he gets to think about what he's going to say.
Probably,
you don't get to.
Let's put
Hey, have you ever thought about your contract? You're the unsung hero on this podcast.
I'm not the
How
I'm here to split you two apart.
dare
okay?
you?
That's why
Oh
I've
my
been
God.
right.
I'm the easy E of this group. I'm the easy E of this group, but I ain't getting AIDS.
Out of the dozens of guests we've had on the show, not one here has ever misevaluated the show enough to say that
I know,
he is
Skyler. They usually wait till after the show when it's just the two of us to tell me how they feel.
How-
Go on with your story, you fucking asshole fascist Richard Slaton.
Besides
I
his
work
mother,
my ass off being funny on this show. God damn it.
Have you thought about how much money he's making out of this podcast? He lives in Van Nuys.
I need a lawyer if he's going to go on with this story, sir.
besides his mother and father, the only regular interactions he was allowed were with his pet rabbits. Despite his isolation, John George maintained a tight appearance, well-groomed and crisply dressed. As a boy, he had a few...
Does the writer of this story want to fuck him, by the way?
I'm the writer of the story.
Oh, you wrote this?
Yeah, I
This
researched it, and
question
then I turned it into the
stands,
story.
Slaton. Answer
So you
the
want to fuck?
question.
You clearly want to fuck this.
100%.
All right.
Yeah, especially after knowing everything about him. So into him.
He's got good hygiene, obviously. He's religious.
As a boy, he had a few serious accidents, one where he smashed his head on a wardrobe and another where he fell down the stairs. But the only medical attention he got was a hug from his mother.
Oh, fair.
Doesn't that heal everything? Still, as
Depends
he
on the
reached
mom,
boyhood,
really.
That's right. How big were the bosoms? That's my question. If you rest your head in those puppies, maybe you could cool off for a bit.
as he reached boyhood, John
Who
George's
did you just
parents,
do, by the way?
Everybody.
I don't know. The character?
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. Skyler, that's one thing about me. I'm just generally not sure.
I'm
it's a
just
disclaimer that goes with all my thoughts.
Okay.
I generally end all my thoughts with, but we really can't be sure now, can we?
As he reached boyhood, John George's parents realized that their bright young boy needed more of an education than Emily could provide. So at 7, they sent him to a strict private preparatory school where he excelled. By 11, he earned a scholarship to Wakefield Grammar School for local children with the highest academic potential. It was there he developed a new passion for music. Unlike the informal gatherings of the Brethren, the Wakefield School held regular services in their giant cathedral, where John George was entranced by the grand sounds of the pipe organ.
Oh, yeah. That stuff does sound amazing in person, especially in the old days. This is pre-TV. So you hear those sounds, you're like, this is great. It's like candy for your ears.
Like that was like Coachella back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for, it didn't cost $1,000 per person.
Yeah.
And there's no dust on anything.
He took up the piano and singing, developing such skill that he was awarded another scholarship to the choir. While traditional church-going did not gel with the Haig's practices, John George's talent and devotion pleased his parents. He graduated in 1826 at the age of 17 and took an apprenticeship as a mechanic. But the hours of physical labor left him tired and interfered with his immaculate appearance.
So in the old days, you would go to college so you could be a mechanic.
Well, an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You still take an apprenticeship in any sort of trade like that.
I really do like how he writes this. Immaculate appearance.
Damn.
That sounds like a prep school.
Actually,
Where do you go? I go to Immaculate Appearance.
Sounds like a douchey school. My son, he's kind of just a sociopath that runs a company now. Why? Well, he went to Immaculate Appearances.
I
He doesn't
actually
know how to
added
actually
the word
connect with people.
immaculate in there because I didn't include it in the original draft, but I felt that it was necessary, and I
I'm
just
not
dropped
gonna
that
argue
shit
with
in,
you.
bro.
It's a really good school if you want your kids to be good at exploiting slaves. Go on with your stories, lady.
So he left for a desk job at an insurance company where he discovered a talent for sales.
Wow, even in the old days, they had desk jobs at insurance companies.
Seriously.
What a fucking world we live in, right,
Yeah, well, they
fellas?
had desks.
And instead of commercials saying how you could save 10% or less, did they have like barkers? Like, you can save 10% or less. Come in.
Please, over here. Do you have any bread and butter? I'm starving. The old days sucks balls.
I've been barking for 2 days.
In 1930, at 21 years old, he moved to a job at a bigger firm and landed a contract to insure a dam in Egypt for £30,000.
I won't insure a damn thing in Egypt. Wait, a dam in Egypt? Oh, yes, I'll do it.
I'll definitely do that.
Right away, we've got to stop that water.
How do we maintain this desert if we let the water in?
That's right. But, the plagues are still happening, sir.
So it was a £30,000 contract, around $2.4 million in equivalent today.
Not what he was making, but the whole
contract
job.
he landed. Despite his success, he was soon fired on suspicion that he was stealing money from the office cash box.
I didn't steal a damn thing. Get it? They're like, just pack up your things.
Just get the fuck out of here.
Well, damn you! Do you like that one? No, just get out of here.
Damn it.
Damn it!
But I already did.
What a great end to that. Skyler said, damn it.
But a little thing like getting fired.
I'm just going to listen to The Damned for a few hours. That'll cool me off.
But a little thing like getting fired wouldn't stop John George. His next couple of years were a huge success as he founded his own advertising company.
Damn advertising.
He grew the business big enough to be traded on the London Stock Exchange.
Oh, wow. So he's doing fucking well.
By 1934, he had truly become his own man. So much
Whoa,
so...
when did we cross centuries? I'm confused.
1834, you're right.
Wait, I thought
Okay.
this was
1915,
1915, you said.
No, this took place. It started in 1809.
You said
1909.
You said 19. Yeah.
What the
No.
fuck?
You said
Yeah,
1900s at the very
You're
beginning.
right, it is 1900s.
Because I was
We
thinking
went
World
back to
War II,
1800s
World War I.
for the religion was started in 1820. He was born in 1909. So yes, this is 1934.
Okay.
This is all taking place in the early 1900s.
All right.
There we
Okay,
go.
As long as it makes sense to the listener.
Yes, I think-
We don't need to understand it.
No,
all
I'm
caught
fine.
As long as whoever's driving right now is like, these guys are
Don't
idiots.
crash.
Yeah, the
'Cause I understood
drivers-
it the whole time.
Somebody-
By 1934, he was a man of his own. So much so that at 24 years old, he finally moved out of his parents' house.
Loser!
How old?
24,
What is the old days?
which for
But
1930,
can we,
not that bad.
Why do we act like there should be some rush on that? Like the people that take
Is your mom
their
about to
time.
kick you out? Is that what's going on right now?
No, nothing's coming up for me. Honestly, I ran away actually. But the point is, like, if you stay in that oven a little longer, dude, you're
Yeah.
living the fucking dream, dude.
Dude, I live with my brother and me. Our families like have a house together. It's fucking awesome.
Wait, right now you do?
Oh, yeah. It's great.
You live with your parents right now?
Well, my parents come into town 2 to 3 times a year, and they do have a room where we live because it's a family house.
So
But he and his brother live together.
How old are
His
you?
parents live in
I'm
Europe.
37. My brother's like 34.
That's what?
And then
You're just doing smart roommating. That's not
that's
really
all
what
I
I'm
needed
talking
was
about.
Skyler Stone financial validation. I feel fine. Go on with your story, Slaton. I'm a man. I
I'm
live with
just
my
saying,
parents.
I don't understand why we're in such a rush to get out
No,
and start a career.
Well-
It's like, dude, fucking go to Europe, travel, come
Yeah.
back, fucking
Save up money, learn how to like do things,
Eat
and learn how to be in
Cheetos,
a
microwave dinners.
tribe with your family. Yeah,
okay. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
By 1934, he became his own man and moved out at 24 years old from his parents' house. Then he stopped attending Brethren assemblies. Then he married a girl, 21-year-old Beatrice Hammer.
Beatrice, give me that Beatrice boo.
Oh, dude, and
I'll
you
hammer
know.
Beatrice, you know what I'm saying?
Be a
Come
boot.
on.
No,
Be a
I don't.
booty.
Do you mean sex?
No.
Oh.
You mean like help her with like carpentry?
Yeah, totally, because I'm very handy.
Oh, that's very cool.
Everything
Watch
was
your hands, buddy.
going great. Until
Beatrice Hammer sounds like a YouTuber.
John George read a newspaper article about a common scam involving cars.
It's like a 12-year-old British blogger with 50 million views a week.
Yeah, right? Does way better than us.
Yeah, she's got like the hammer symbol that comes on through her fast cuts.
With the world in the midst of a depression, many businesses were going under, including automotive dealers.
Did the world blog about their depression every fucking day on Facebook?
The scam went like this. Find a dealer in financial trouble. Using a fake name, buy a car and make the first couple of payments before selling the car to a third party.
Okay.
Often, the dealer wouldn't have the time or the money to pursue prosecution.
Wow.
Tired of actually working...
Hold on. Am I an asshole? If I have ADD. Could you just repeat that one more time?
So,
Are you trying to learn how to
It's-
do this scam? Because I want to do it too.
it's the depression. A lot of businesses...
That's kind of where I'm, yeah.
I want a new Accord and I want the touring package. Let's figure this out right now.
A lot of businesses are struggling and starting to go under.
Okay.
So part of the scam was find a car dealership that is struggling and looks like they're on the edge.
Got it.
Buy a car from them with a fake name, because you could
Okay.
do that in 1930.
Sure.
Then make the first couple of payments just to keep them to stop suspicion. Then sell the car and just ghost on them. And
Yeah,
the idea
you're
is
just
that
done. It's lost in the paperwork.
That the company's in so much financial trouble, they can't afford to come after
They're
you.
not going to like look through the chain of title for the car. Basically, they're just like,
Yeah.
oh, we can't find him. Next.
Okay.
Move
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
But yeah, we can't do this anymore, though. You sure?
Yeah. So John George starts doing this con, and in the fall of 1934, pulled it a number of times, discovering that he was quite skilled at faking someone else's signature and handwriting.
So he's gone from like he's already had like a hardcore corporate job of success and making probably real hardcore cash.
Yeah.
And now he's doing kind of like petty financial crime, right? Petty white collar, like.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want to work. He wants to find something that's easier than work, and apparently this is, for some reason.
It doesn't seem like it's too hard, right?
He made a lot of money before he was caught,
Oh.
presumably by a company that didn't go out of business.
Oh, they're like, oh, wrong, buddy. We've been following.
He was convicted of fraud and forgery and sentenced to 15 months in prison.
Boo. That's a long time for a man in the old days.
Suddenly, everything changed. While inside, John George received a letter from the Brethren, politely informing him that he had brought shame upon them all and was no longer welcome.
Oh, so now we've got motive.
The scandal furthered when Beatrice gave birth to a baby,
That wasn't his?
put it up for adoption, and left her husband.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like something the Hammers would do.
That's such an old
Every
school.
hammer I ever
Dude,
met.
Hammers
It's the
always.
old school-
Army hammer.
Always the Hammers.
Always give up his kids for adoption. And leaving.
Always.
Actual hammers. Have you ever seen them with little hammers? No, because they put their hammers up for adoption.
When he got out,
It makes sense if you think about it. I'm right.
John George sat in prison rejected by everyone except for mom and dad. When he got out, he moved home. Hoping to give their son a new start, John, Robert, and Emily gave him the money to begin a dry cleaning business with a partner. Within weeks, it was booming as they cleaned over 2,000 items a week.
Really?
But then the partner was killed in a car accident. Without the necessary cash to keep the business afloat, John George was forced to liquidate.
By the way, have you ever gone into a Los Angeles dry cleaning place where you didn't get the vibe that they do something else on top of that?
Never.
Right?
Right. Every time you go into, I don't care if it's in Beverly Hills. You're like, nah, you guys,
Yep.
you fucking, you turn concert tickets or something. You're the one that buys like everything when Radiohead goes on sale and I
Yeah.
can't get a ticket. You're the one making like $900 off each ticket
Selling
on StubHub.
selling the Back to the Future Nikes in the background.
Because it's
on
dry
eBay.
cleaning. You're not hand washing. There's not much to be done. And by the way, have you ever noticed they don't do it there? Like whenever you like want to see your shirt, they're like, oh yeah, we send it over
It's like,
to
where
another
are you
place.
sending it to?
Yeah. Well, those are the dry cleaners. Then what are you guys?
They're just the middleman.
The fucking front.
They're the front of the whole thing.
That's always
Front
what's
of the
been
whole
going
thing.
on.
It's a soprano fucking business.
It was 1936, and John George needed a change. So he packed his bags and headed to London.
So he did square work for a while when he had that business.
Yeah.
It's almost like the devil didn't want him to keep being square.
There, he answered a want ad, looking for a personal chauffeur and secretary for Donald McSwan, a wealthy man from
Right
Wimbledon.
away.
That's a real person?
No, that seems like two children in a suit on top of each other on shoulders. Hello, I am Donald McSwan.
That's right.
Tommy, fucking hold still.
Hold on, you're going to believe this even more when I tell you what Donald McSwan did.
Oh, boy.
First of all, he was from Wimbledon,
But-
and he owned a
Donnie
number
McSwan from Wimbledon.
of amusement arcades.
Wow.
Is this not two kids on top of each
This
other?
is
Come
so
on.
unreal. That name should have let him know right away. This is a scumfuck.
He stuck around for a few months, just long enough to become friends with McSwan's son, William, nicknamed Mac, before moving along to start another new venture as a solicitor or contract lawyer with a specialty in estate planning.
Where I'm from, a solicitor is not a contract lawyer.
Yeah, it's an English term.
Okay.
Solicitor is like
Like here, it's a piece
guy-
of shit at your door. You know.
You have to understand. This
I'm
is,
selling candy bars for Inglewood. Like, oh, you are? Because I live in Reseda. Why are you up here? That's
What are
already-
you doing?
Right away, that's bad business. You cost yourself $12 getting here. Why would I give you $2 for a candy bar?
it's not going to help your friends go through get their football pads. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
it's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen, buddy.
I know what you're doing.
There's a lot of you got to realize there's a lot of different names, things we call things in America that are different in England. Crisps, they call French fries, or they call chips crisps.
ugh,
And fries they call
Jews.
no chips. You fucking ass.
They don't call them Jews?
Oh my God, I'm starving right now. I'll take one order of
Jews?
fish and some Jews. Fish and
Jews with brown sauce,
Fish
maybe.
and Jews with some vinegar.
Fish and Jews?
Oh,
Ooh,
dude, that sounds
yeah.
delicious.
I always dip my Jews in ketchup.
I don't know if you know this, but a cult in South Africa is a gym, which leads to a lot of really funny moments when you say I joined a cult, because then it's like, oh, buddy, did you ever? Just kidding.
But here's a question. What's,
look great. What
what's
cult are you
actually
in?
harder to leave, a gym or a cult?
That's a really good question. If it's 24-hour fitness, the cult for sure.
Yeah. Oh, no, 24-hour fitness. 24-hour fitness, you might as well have joined a cult and given away all your
Yeah.
passports.
That'd be funny. Yeah, that'd be funny if LA Fitness made you kill your parents.
All your passports.
Like I'm doing physical therapy on my leg right now up at the SAG.
Dope, dude.
Like the SAG, what's it called? Like it's the hospital up.
Yeah, the special.
Up in like Woodland Hills.
Yeah.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, like I go, what's past that door right there? They have this door, and everybody always looks so happy coming out of there. Like, oh, that's our gym. And I
That's
go in
what
there.
they're-
It's the nicest gym you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh yeah, it's $30 a month. There's no contract. They go, you have a unlimited trainers. And I go, what do you mean? I go, how much is the trainer? They're like, no, that's part of the 30. Like you can
Wow.
you can get trained every
That's
day
for
if you
SAG
want.
insurance or
It's
whatever.
part of it.
Yeah.
And then you
part
walk
of
in
it.
and you go, what's behind that door? And they go, that's where Allison Mack from Smallville
Oh, here we
brands
go.
you on your hip so you can join our sex cult.
No, but everybody in there looks so happy, and then I realized it's like these people are living the dream. They found a gym with no contract that's $30.
But it's
a
all the way
month.
in Woodland Hills.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I live by there. So
perfect.
And so then they're like, why don't you just go to 24-hour fitness and get out of your thing? I'm like, you might as well tell me to go figure out the fucking DNA code on myself without the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's
you can't
stressful.
go just get out of 24-hour fitness.
You have to go there. You have to ask like for permission. You have to go to.
I'd have more luck knocking on Martin Scorsese's door saying, "Can I be in your next movie?" You know what I mean?
That's how I got cast.
Shit, does
Not
that
what
work,
you guys
guys?
did?
That sounds like a great idea.
I got Bob Saget's address, so
John George eventually had offices in Chancery Lane, London, Guildford, Surrey, and Hastings, Sussex, managing the estates of a number of wealthy people. The big money came from handling the sale of goods from his deceased clients. He found a number of new clients by finding them great deals on stocks and companies, discounted because the previous owner had passed on.
He's hooking it up.
He was so successful that clients began to give him deposits in advance to option new shares as they became available.
So when this next fella passes on, I'm ready for his shares.
But there was one problem.
Yes?
It was all a lie.
Nobody's died? Then whose shares are these?
The companies were real, but he didn't have a bunch of dead clients with stocks he could sell new clients at a discount because that isn't a thing. He didn't have offices on Chancery Lane.
Is this a bloody thing?
That's a question you should always ask your attorney.
I want to see the corpse of the previous owner of my stocks.
He was selling fake stocks for real companies.
Yes.
Like they didn't actually. It's not. There's no such thing as discount stocks because the owner died. It's not a thing that exists.
These aren't discount stocks. These are discount stocks, you see.
He didn't have
Did anyone
offices
die?
in Chancery Lane,
Then whose
Guildford, and
stocks are
Hastings.
these?
He had one office that moved around depending on where he was running the con.
Come back here, office. Every time I try to grab the office, it runs faster than father.
Even his name was fake, operating as William Cato Adamson. But
by the way, let's just got to point this out.
Yeah.
The name Cato just cannot catch a break.
No,
Right?
no, it's
Like, where has that ever worked?
Right? The Cato
Cato Kalin, Cato sidekick for the Green, whatever.
Green Lantern, Green Hornet.
Total bomb of a movie.
However, the Cato diet seems to work fairly effectively.
That's keto.
Right?
But balancing a stack of lies
Keto Kalin?
is...
The Cato diet is, you live in a guest house.
Keto Kalin.
You eat whatever was left at the pool.
That's right. Only natural carbs, simple carbs. Yeah.
But balancing a stack of lies is difficult.
Complex carbs.
He was eventually caught when a client noticed his letterhead for the Guildford office was missing the silent D. An unlikely mistake for a trained professional.
Silent D. Oh, yeah.
That's right. The D.
That's your porn game.
Give some of that quiet
You
dick.
can't hear it coming. It just has subtitles.
Can't hear it coming. Oh, God, dude. Oh, that was, thank you.
Clip it.
Sorry, Mom. I wish we could do the sign language for sorry, Mom, right now.
Sorry, Mom.
Lo siento, mi madre.
Convicted of dishonesty and obtaining over £3,000, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison. £3,000, around $265,000.
Oh, yeah. He's into some real crime nowadays, huh?
John George was still inside at the start of World War II. As it became clear,
John George was what?
still inside prison.
He's still in jail,
At
which
the-
is kind of a lucky break because fucking World War II fucking sucked.
But as it became clear the war was
Right?
getting
You don't-
worse, some low-level offenders were released a little early to help the cause.
Oh, okay. So then it does still suck because they're like, you, prisoner 2437, you busy right now?
Yeah, kinda. I got this rock that I'm hitting with a hammer over and over again.
Oh, great. Well, pack your shit. You're going off to war. Hope you like mustard.
Can't I just sit in this
gas
room
form?
by myself and like go crazy? That sounds a lot more relaxing.
Nope, you're a prisoner and you're owned by the country.
I have an unwilling butt fucking I have scheduled for this afternoon.
Oh no, there's plenty of butt fucks you're gonna have, and they're gonna have bayonets that they're gonna be
Yeah,
fucking
but
you with.
I can confirm I actually signed up for this a week ago, so I would appreciate it if you could just step out,
I
please.
didn't see you standing there, Stevenson. Guess what? You're
What?
also going to war.
God damn it!
He got out after a little less than 3 years and took a position fighting fires in London.
Ooh,
But
he became a firefighter?
But he quickly quit after hitting on a nurse, only to see her head taken off by a bomb minutes later.
Dude, this is like the Forrest Gump of ID channel stories. Like, this guy is just like, what the fuck is next, man?
So he hit on this
Then he
chick?
invented quilting.
Yeah, he hit on a chick, and then minutes later, he saw a bomb blow her head, like take her head off.
And he was
saw
like,
her head, rubber.
I think I'm done.
Well, he registered for military service in 1941, as was required, but then never showed up for his medical exam.
What year is it now?
41.
41, okay.
Because he was back in prison serving 21 months hard labor for
We
theft.
called him Flaky Johnny, but in reality, he was just locked up in the pen.
1941.
1941.
Catch
dude.
me if you can.
That's right. That's right.
That's basically what this is.
Catch me if you can. He was finally released in September of 43. Now, 34 years old, he took another job in sales and bookkeeping, rented a small apartment, and attended piano concerts. For a while.
I'm always impressed with this guy. Like, he takes a job, but he has like some kind of cool hobby that, like, you know what I mean?
He
Okay.
seems like he might just be a normal guy that kind of fits in with the rest of society that kind of just ends up with criminal jobs.
Seems pretty normal.
Right?
Yeah.
For a while, his life was quiet and ordinary.
But then...
Until he stopped for a drink.
See, but then would have been good, but until also works.
Well, Slaton he always sets me up with but and then something, but Slaton always sets me up with but. Slaton always sets me up with but.
He stopped for a drink at The Goat, one of his favorite spots from back in his 20s.
Now, is it really called The Goat, like The Goat, or is it
That's
a bar
the name-
called The Greatest of All Time?
The bar's called The Goat.
Or is it a bar called LeBron, but it's also known as The Goat?
I see what you're doing there.
I think it's a bar themed after Adam Sandler's best character, the goat. Nothing, old man.
Oh, fuck me in my ass.
Fuck me in the goat ass. I'm serving Englishmen their Guinness.
There he ran into his old friend, Mac McSwan.
What's up, Mac? What's up?
It had been almost 10 years since he worked for Mac's dad and the friends had seen each other.
It's been such a long time, Mac. What have you been up to, my good lad?
John George explained he'd been traveling.
I've been traveling, though.
He neglected to mention that he'd been staying in prisons.
I had been staying in prison. I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Wait, what? Where were we staying?
I've just been busy. I stayed at the Four Seasons, yes. Through many seasons.
Delighted to see each other. The
Continental
men picked
breakfast,
up
you
their
see.
friendship right where it left off.
Cottage cheese, little boxes of Fruit Loops. It's actually very pleasant.
Drinking every night for 2 weeks at the Goat and discussing plans, deals, and ideas.
Oh, that sounds great. What if they had tapas at the Goat, you know? So you get drunk and then you get like little fried things.
After a couple of weeks,
I'm in.
I'm so in.
Mac shared a pressing dilemma.
I'm just picturing
the
Mac.
cause of his recent uptick in drinking.
Picturing Mac from Always Sunny.
He faced conscription into military service for the ongoing war
What does that mean?
and was afraid of being killed in battle.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? To face conscription?
Like he was going to be conscripted into service. He was going to be made to serve in the war.
But he
drafted as
Okay, you said he
Please
faced
don't
it.
say words like conscripted.
Sure.
Seriously?
I won't say words that are accurate. It's
Sounds
fine.
like a conspiracy to make us not understand what's
fuck
going
accuracy. Just, you know.
on. Do you write
be
the
cool.
bank loan paperwork too, you fucking prick? I don't understand words.
Yep. So long story boring, they're going to make him fight in World War II.
Yeah, okay, I get that. See,
Lucky
why
for
couldn't you
him-
say it like that?
John was an expert in fraud and deceit, and he came up with a plan.
I'll sign it myself for you.
They would smuggle Mac to Scotland, where he would hide out for the remainder of the war. His trusted pal, John George, would happily manage his affairs as his solicitor.
Wonderful.
To keep the English military from tracking him down through the mail, Mac would correspond with his family through letters sent to his new solicitor, who would secretly deliver them on his behalf.
This is literally just every Tom Hanks movie ever.
Right?
Like, did Tom Hanks read the story and then decide, I know what movies I want to
Probably,
make?
although
there's
I've-
Forrest Gump so far. Help me out. There's more here.
The island one.
The one where he stayed in the airport?
Terminal.
I don't see the terminal in this yet.
Partition, the road to Partition. There's the Green
Catch Me
Mile.
If You Can is in this.
Now
Now you're just naming movies that aren't in this, though.
Big, Philadelphia.
Well, big for sure. The two kids on top of each other.
There you go.
With
Right?
their big
Was Tom
trench
Hanks
coat.
in Hook? No.
Punchline.
Punchline? Wow, you're really digging into
Probably
Tom
had
Hanks
probably had
sack right
lockers
there.
somewhere in here. All right.
Philadelphia. Is there any gay shit yet?
There's going to be.
But there is cream cheese
Ooh,
on the
way to
salmon.
tip
salmon
that.
roll.
I don't know if there will be, actually.
Okay. Yes, you do. You've read it.
You wrote
would
it, for God's sakes. Get with the program.
Mac agreed with this great plan, and so he went to ground, leaving a 3-time felon and con man to manage all his money.
Yeah, that's. But does Mac understand
That's how
that
you do it.
Does Mac understand
He
that's
has
the case?
no idea that's the case because
So-
John George was like, I was out traveling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the
The
reason
whole,
you
like,
haven't seen
don't
me,
stay in
I've
prison.
been going out in the world,
Yeah.
doing charity works and making sure that no one's hunting elephants.
Yes, that's exactly what I've been doing.
I'm quite a good, trustworthy man. Do you have any money I can hold for you?
John George immediately moved from his small, modest room to a more upmarket apartment.
What's the last 4 digits of your social security, by the way? Just curious.
He maintained Mac's memberships in various clubs by attending them himself on Mac's behalf.
Oh, badass.
He spent lavishly on food, clothes, and more concerts.
What did he eat? I'm starving. I just want to hear what he ate. Some scallops
Everyone
with bacon?
assumed he was well off on his own from his last decade as a solicitor. John George also dutifully dropped off the regular postcards from Scotland and mailed the parents' replies from his own address.
Dutifully is one of those words that does not sound like what it's about.
It makes you think of poop, right?
Every time.
Dutifully?
Dutifully.
There's a
Like,
fly on your duty.
what kind of 2 girls,
It's
1 cup shit is
It's
this?
a duty flea, and you might get them on your body if you don't get away from that poop.
This continued until the war ended in May of 1945.
Duty flea? Come on, Slaton. Let's pause the story.
I just
for a
know
couple
where we are
minutes.
in the story.
Just a
Okay.
minute. Okay.
I know,
So you're in a important part?
I
Okay.
know where that story is. So I'm like, it's sort of like we're hitting the top of the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then you guys are like,
That's my favorite
hey, but what if
analogy.
we stopped here for a while?
Well,
Yeah.
duty flea does require just
I
a
do-
little
I
bit
do
of
understand
pondering.
that.
It's a funny
Duty
image.
flea.
It's just one flea, too. Any other fleas here? I'm here. There's a huge piece of duty, and it's all for me, I guess. He's the duty flea, not a group of duty flies, which is known as a duty
to
flows.
recap, in case you guys all forgot, because of the duty flea, the duty riff.
Oh, fucking sue me for calling out some funny shit. Yes.
John George has now started spending the shit out of his buddy's money.
Yep.
And he's still like delivering the letters back and forth, but they don't know that he is just blasting through everyone's money because they think he has.
He's an addict. He's an addict. He has cash and he needs to shop.
This continued until the war ended in May of 1945. 2 months later, the McSwans received a letter from their son. He was finally coming home. They made plans to secretly meet in a basement apartment rented by John George, entering one at a time so as not to attract attention from the draft board, who was still on the lookout for Mac.
Oh, because they're going to keep
after he
watching
skipped
after
town.
the war. When are you free after that?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Donald and John George went first, but instead of his son, Donald found some tin masks, a stirrup pump, a steel bathtub, and a drain in the middle of the floor.
Surprise! They're going to film an episode of Whose Line Is It Anyways? Pick
That's
your toy.
when John
Improv.
George hit him in the back of the head with an iron bar.
What? Wait. John George hit the parent? The dad? Oh.
John George
just committed murder.
Killed his friend in the room. Hit him in the back of his fucking head. And now he is almost fucking dead. Sit back, he was a con man. And
That's
he liked
my con man
the
too.
chorus.
During his last stay in prison.
Probably one of the worst songs we've ever done. Go on with the story.
During his last stay in prison, John George decided to educate himself in the law using the prison's library.
You see, it's actually a loophole. If you kill someone's parents while scamming them out of money, you get to go free.
It was there that he came across the legal concept of corpus delicti. The body,
When you
Latin
lick
for,
a corpus, when you lick a dead body, corpus licti.
Latin for the body of a crime. Without proof that a crime had occurred, there can be no conviction.
What?
Without what?
It's a legal concept, corpus delicti, which basically means if there's no proof that the crime actually happened, you can't convict someone of a crime.
But hitting him on the back of the head would leave like a pretty big gash.
Hold on.
Oh,
there's going to be some more stuff
I'm
here.
about to hold on, dog. I'm holding on. Look at my grip.
That's when he came to the realization that the problem with his crimes.
Have you ever been
was that
able
the
to come to a
victims-
realization? It usually takes, some good reverse cowgirl movies.
His realization was the problem with his crimes was the victims kept reporting him. So now he turned his studies to science and soon found what he was looking for: sulfuric acid.
Oh my God! Is he gonna melt these fucking people?
Most commonly used for the
what
manufacture
the
of
fuck kind of
fertilizers.
story is this?
Mr.
Sulfuric-
White.
Holy ficht! Yeah.
Betch.
Yeah, that was a great Jesse. Holy
Fucking
shit.
betch.
Oh, fucking.
Mr. White.
Just gonna melt these people up, bitch.
Most commonly used for
God, that's a
manufacturing
great
of fertilizers, sulfuric acid is also used in oil refining, lead acid batteries, and in domestic drain cleaners where it can remove things like grease, tissue paper, and human
Grease. It's gonna break down. Like the acid will break down every fucking particle. We've all seen Breaking Bad.
Using his social charm, George found a way to a job in the metal shop as a tinsmith, which contained sulfuric acid. He paid other prisoners working outdoor jobs to bring him the bodies of any small animals they found, like birds or mice. He began to conduct
What did he
experiments,
practice on them?
putting little bodies in acid until they were reduced to a slime he could pour down the drain. With a little bit of math, he figured out it would take about 40 gallons of sulfuric acid to dispose of the average human body.
This guy did his fucking homework on murder.
Don't you do your homework before you murder people?
I don't murder people, Slaton. I'm a
He
good guy.
left prison with a plan to use his new knowledge along with his skills as a forger to get rich. And he had the perfect target: his friend, Mac McSwan.
He's gonna kill his friend. What's the
They're
point of being rich
meeting
if you can't
at
share
the
your money
goat.
with your homies?
Their meeting at the Goat was no accident. John George planned the whole thing from the start. He rekindled their friendship and spent 2 weeks drinking with Mac, looking for an opportunity. The draft issue was the perfect opening.
He didn't fall in love with him after 2 weeks of partying with him. Like, I can't kill this guy. He's my homie.
He proposed his Scotland plan, and the men went to the basement, where John George had him look at something he was working on before hitting him in the back of the head with a metal pipe.
See, dude, I have really good friends, but there's not one friend on my Rolodex that if you said, come to the basement, I have something to show you. I'm not coming.
What do you mean? You're in a basement we asked you to right now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Slaton. Skyler, we just want to hit him on the back of the head. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Wait, that's actually a really good.
Would that be crazy?
No, because I've been down here before. If you asked me to go to a
A
new
different
room in the
basement?
comedy store that I'd never been to, wouldn't come.
Really?
I'd be like, no, let's go do it in this room that I'm comfortable with.
I'm grateful that he's been to this room already. We would have had a flaked
Would have been
guest.
a real problem, yeah.
Our guest isn't showing. Why? He's terrified. Of
He's
being
terrified
murdered.
of this room.
He's afraid of being murdered. He's never been in that room before.
John George kept hitting Mac's head until he felt a, quote, squashy feeling.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Then he removed Mac's wallet, watch, and national ID card, finally packed the body in an oil drum, filled it with sulfuric acid, and waited overnight for his friend to dissolve before pouring the liquefied remains down the drain.
Please tell me he was dead, though, before he went into that.
Oh, yeah, because the squashy feeling in the head
He
when he
smashed his head into a pulp. That's disgusting.
From there, it was easy to use his friend's national ID to forge everything he needed, especially signatures on checks.
But isn't John going to come up as a suspect with the fact that his friend's missing and where's all his money going? Who's in charge of his
Well,
accounts?
maybe listen to these things here.
I am listening.
The postcards to the parents he wrote himself, and they were none the wiser. To get the proper postmark...
Is that an early 90s band? None the wiser?
Sounds like
None
it.
the wiser. Also, postmarks to himself. That's another big
To
one.
get the proper postmark, he
Postcards to
took
himself,
frequent-
dude. They're opening for None the Wiser, bro. You got to come with me. They're
Seriously.
kind of emo. They're pretty weak. You should come.
To get the proper postmark, he took frequent trips to Glasgow and Edinburgh to mail them back home to his own office. But when the war ended and Mac still hadn't returned, John George knew his cash cow was about to run out, and so he devised a plan to get even richer.
Is that a TV show, Cash
So,
Cow?
The entire time, Mac has been dead from the beginning. They drank for 2 weeks, took him to the basement, killed him, melted him, and then concocted this whole thing where he told his parents, hey, your son left for Scotland to avoid the war. And they're like, that makes sense because he's afraid of war.
Yeah.
And then he faked all these letters. His forgery of the handwriting was so good that his parents all thought these postcards were actually coming from their kid.
Dude, the only reason people are even calming down and not being as crazy anymore is because of social media and internet. I just had that look at the shit you could get away with.
I think you're entirely wrong, and this stuff still happens all the time.
Yeah, I gotta
we do a
say,
show about
it
this
happens,
every
but
week.
most people wouldn't do this because it'd be so much harder to get away with this.
You'd be surprised.
people are still doing it, dude.
I would listen to a little show called Crime with Three Eyes, and you can see how maybe...
Oh, we got to start listening to that show.
Yeah,
That
we
show's
should.
great. You got to listen to it.
I haven't heard of it.
It's great.
Maybe if it was caught on and someone told me about it.
So now we're back to the basement in July of 1945.
I'm just gonna go have a cup of coffee. Maybe just cry out in the fucking lobby right now.
So 10
Wait,
months...
you really think it's just as bad now?
Oh, yeah.
I don't agree. Why do you think that?
I think
because
everyone's...
I do the show, and I read about crimes all the time, and I've researched them.
You don't do
immensely.
all old-timey crimes all the
We
time?
do stuff that goes as far back as 400, 500 years ago. And
But then we just did a story that happened like
2 weeks ago.
yeah, people are still in jail from right now. Or yeah, shit that just happened.
You don't think people are more scared to get away with shit now?
No, because the people that are crazy enough to do this stuff in the first place are not thinking straight.
And they also
anyways.
usually believe that they're better than everyone, and they can do it.
Oh yeah, they have like this ego of like,
Yeah.
I can do that. No one's gonna fucking be able to catch me.
Back to the basement in July of 1945.
Back to the Basement. That sounds like a cool TV show. This fall on True TV, Back to the Basement, starring Richard Slaton and people he's murdering.
So
It
John,
sounded like the beginning of like a KRS-One song. Back to the basement, 1945. There was a chick with a bush as big as a beehive.
Oh, it's
coming
so
on
good.
down, and we're going.
That's a very arousing rap you did there, right,
Yeah.
sir? I like that. I'm thinking
beehive
of
bush?
a very curvy black woman with
Sounds like the
huge
60s went
tits,
really wrong.
and a really cool like flowery headpiece from the '60s. Yeah, and like she's got
What year is it
his
again?
wife. This is 1945.
45.
So this is 10 months ago. Mac disappeared and fled to Scotland. He's really been dead the entire time. And now you're returning to the moment that John George smacked Donald in the back of the head
Okay.
with an iron bar, and then moved his limp body out of view.
Wait,
Then-
so I'm sorry. Mac's been dead for a while.
Mac's been dead for 10 months.
10 months.
But now he's returning to England, and the parents are going to go meet him in this basement, one at a time, to avoid the prying eyes of the military police.
What?
And now Donald has walked in, and he saw, instead of seeing his son, he saw a murder basement.
He's going to murder he murdered the son, and now he's going to murder the parents.
Maybe, I don't know. Let's read.
Okay, go reading. Go
So
on
he
with your
moved the limp
story.
body out of view, and
Yes.
then he went to get Mrs. McSwan to join her family, but she didn't know quite how literally. They entered. He brained her with the iron bar and got to work. First, he removed their valuables.
So he killed both of the parents right now.
Then he changed into his swimming trunks and the tin mask to avoid bloodstains, while he dismembered the bodies and put them in the bathtub. Next, he used the stirrup pump to slowly fill it with a combination of sulfuric and hydrochloric acid.
While he's in his boxers, isn't he afraid of burning his balls with that shit?
Once the
Stirrup
McSwans were...
pump. Yo, check out my stirrup pump.
It's like what if a bike pump was attached to a bucket, and that's how you got water out of the bucket?
It's like
The
an old
stirrup pumps were
industrial, like pre...
It's like an old firefighting thing. It's
Yeah.
like fill this bucket with water and then pump and spray it on shit. But he's using it now to fill a bathtub with acid.
Yes, the old pump and dump. I recall this, yes.
Once the McSwans were fully melted, they finally joined their son.
Honey, the McSwans are here.
Down the
Fully
drain.
melted. Oh, gross. So their whole bodies just melted away. Mm-hmm. It really is just like in Breaking Bad. Like
Yeah.
you just melt into like a little sliminess.
While the McSwans disintegrated, John George took over their lives. He used their keys to go to their apartment, leaving notes for the landlady that they had, quote, gone away to America and weren't sure when they would be back. Then he traveled to Glasgow.
America, the old America up in the sky, with the Lord of America, the president, a.k.a. God, they're dead.
Then he traveled to Glasgow, where Mac had been hiding, and entered a real solicitor's office to pose as his dead friend. There, he expertly forged a signature on a very important document that read, by power of attorney, I, William Donald McSwan of Claverton Street, London, appoint John George Haigh of 38 Queensgate Terrace and of the Onslow Court Hotel, my attorney for me and in my name to execute all or any of the following acts.
Can I read it?
We already read it.
But I like, that's
We already read
for
it.
me to read.
Nope, not anymore.
You're a dick.
I know. Okay. The document was stamped and approved by the real solicitor. John George now had legal control over all the McSwan's family wealth.
John George now had legal control
property.
over all of McSwan's wealth. Whenever I go out, I'm spending the money of the people I murdered. They say, hey, that's John George, the murderer who spent all the money from the
That's what he's known for. He does that all the time.
I should have let you read the thing. If I let you read the thing, will there be no more songs from you?
We can negotiate on that. Yes, I think that would be fair.
Okay, you read the next one then.
Okay.
John George now had legal control over all their wealth, possessions, and property, equaling around £6,000, worth around $335,000 today.
Wow, he murdered a whole family so that he could buy a house in Nebraska. Loser!
And with that money, he went full on Home Alone 2.
Yeah, you can't do shit with $300,000.
Home Alone 2.
Yeah, he moved into the posh Onslow Court Hotel.
Oh,
in
I
a
like where this is
wealthy
headed.
area of South Kensington.
Oh, I just forgave him for everything he did.
He spent his time.
I didn't know he had a plan. Like, thought he was crazy. Like, he needed something.
It's not the murder so much that makes Skyler disrespect someone. It's just that they're just trying to do things impromptu. It's like, what's the matter, dude? What are you trying to improv? What you're going to do with your fucking cash?
Yeah.
He moved into the hotel. He spent his time gambling, partying, and befriending the wealthy older widows who also stayed at the hotel.
He's gonna
Oh,
start
dude, I love this. He's playing grab ass with other ladies.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a Home Alone song. It's like, ba-doo, ba-doo, doop, doop, doop. He's just like smacking asses.
Like, if I got to get some gray bush to get some cash, I'll fucking do it, dog. Send me over. What's up, Mrs. McIntyre?
He spent a lot of time receiving guests in his room,
Yeah, he did.
where
Yeah.
nothing untoward happened, although his visitors did comment on his obsession with Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake, which he repeatedly played on his gramophone until the needle or record wore out, only to be immediately replaced.
Okay, I have to just take a stop for a second. I can't stand being around people that listen to the same song over and over again, or the same CD stays in your car.
You would not like me
it
during
drives
a
me
breakup.
crazy. It drives me. Oh well, during a breakup, Skyler, you're the
No, but one song, like, bro, I'll listen to Mazzy Star, Fade Into You,
my
like 52
God,
times
I
in a
fucking
row.
love that song.
For me, it's
Fucking
pulling an
Fade- Are you
all-nighter.
kidding
If
me?
I'm pulling an all-nighter, it's one song on repeat the entire night.
Really?
That's the only way I can stay
I can
focused.
listen.
That's
to,
a weird
I can
thing.
listen to Mazzy Star quite a bit. What's the other fucking killer song she has? There's another one that is unbelievable. I forgot the name of it. It's been a while since I listened to it. Anyways,
You know what I would do if I had someone like when I was single coming over to have sex? You know what my song on repeat was
Slayer,
till they
Rain
showed
of
up.
Blood. Me
That'd
too.
be
Me
weird.
too.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. Scenario by Tribe Called Quest.
Are you serious? What? That's my scenario. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
I can't say the
Here we go, yo. Here we go. You know that song?
the title of the Tribe song that I would play if I wanted to get laid, but I can't say it on here because it's got a word in it.
You only come when Q-Tip comes on. I get it. He lived this life for 2 years, but by the summer of 1947, lacking any source of income, his expensive lifestyle left him short on funds.
lived this life for 2 years.
Are you telling me Rob Schneider was catching on to his room service bill?
He tried some small scams,
I picture this guy as Rob Schneider with an English accent now. Fucking hilarious.
but they just couldn't keep up with his spending.
They just couldn't keep up with the spending.
So he did the only thing that made
Why
sense.
did you just turn that into like a John Cougar Mellencamp song?
I did the only
Here's a
thing that
story
makes
about
sense.
keeping up with spending.
He killed his friend and he spent all his money. Now he needs to kill some old ladies too.
So he did the only thing that made sense.
The
and
only
began
thing that makes sense is
search.
to keep on killing and paying your bills.
to buy some expensive property.
Oh, so he make an investment with
Of
this.
course, he didn't have the money for such a purchase, but that wasn't the point.
But that wasn't the point.
We don't always have the money for our killings, but we gotta keep on killing so we make the money.
High-class real estate was the perfect place to meet a new victim.
Oh, crime real estate?
Sold! Oh, I see what you're saying there. Eventually, he made an offer on a home owned by Dr. Archibald Henderson and his wife, Rosalie.
It's so funny how many of our crime stories have real estate involved. It really makes you wonder about the real estate industry.
While the deal fell
like porn
through,
with houses, right?
Yeah.
While the deal shockingly fell through, he became friends with the couple. They asked him to play piano at their new housewarming party, where he stole.
By the way, just so you know, when you ask someone to play piano at your housewarming party, that is like, yo, you want to?
That's like a code, right? For
You want to get thrown in the mix with me and my wife tonight?
Yeah,
That's
right.
exactly what that means. Yo, how good are you with the keys? You know what I mean? It's like there's a whole swinger keys in the bowl, like secret language.
Do you like pressing down keys? You like the black keys?
Yeah.
You ever seen Eyes Wide Shut? You a big
Yeah.
fan of Billy Joel? You ask him all these piano related
You know how to
questions.
make French toast?
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? Like, yeah.
You know
there's certain-
Yamaha doesn't just make dirt bikes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
While the deal, of course, fell through, the housewarming party. While he was playing piano, he stole Dr. Archie's revolver.
Well, that's what you do when you play piano, right? You hit one of the keys with your hand, and then you reach in the revolver case
Standard.
and pull out a gun, right?
Yeah.
In February,
Why else would you be playing?
As you're grabbing it, this is pretty nice. Put it in your pants.
is the only song that you play the one that Bill Murray played in Ghostbusters when he was searching the apartment?
That is what I consider a
They
penis.
hate that.
this. Yeah.
Drives them crazy.
That's a real penis right there.
But that's the bedroom. Nothing ever happened in there. What a crime. Oh, bringing it back
See
to the
what's up?
podcast.
Bam.
What a crime. You need T-shirts
I ain't
of him
afraid of
in
no
that
riff.
fucking in Sigourney's room with a cartoon bubble out of his mouth saying "What a crime" with a bunch of eyes.
That'd be awesome. And
Easy.
Bill Murray would be into that too.
Yeah.
He's a supporter
yeah,
of the
you
arts.
would not even need his support.
No.
No.
Well, he's so big, he's not going to find us and sue us, right? And if he did, it would be a good problem to have.
In
Wow,
February.
it sounds like you might be a little like our guy in the story.
Well, I do
Go
have a
after the
bunch.
people that don't have time to come after you.
I have shovels and acid at home, and I'm willing to kill for a couple bucks. So,
In
yes.
February of 1948, he convinced Archie to accompany him to his workshop in a nearby town to look at a new invention that would make them both a lot of money.
Archie, I have an invention I'd like to show you. Why don't you accompany me to my workshop downtown?
By the way, back then you really could have like an invention. Like it'd be like, oh my god, no one ever thought of
Even preposterous.
cooking before.
Yes,
Like,
but also 99% of those inventions were scams and fakes.
That's what
okay,
he's saying.
so-
I'm just saying now though, like if you like, I have an invention, it's like, what are you talking about? We
No,
have
it's a-
everything.
Yeah, we've got everything.
Yeah,
Right?
we're
You're going to
good.
make my internet faster? Yeah, right. You got
Yeah.
a battery that's not $800? Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
The second they entered the workshop,
He was
John
killed.
pulled out the stolen revolver, shot him in the head, and put him in the acid bath.
What was the invention though?
There was no invention.
Skyler,
but he
you're going to
didn't even-
fall for these if you're not
He
if
did,
you're not
no,
on
but
more
he
on your
didn't
toes.
even like tease it.
No, he just
It's the old days.
he
He'd be,
says,
"I made a time
have
machine."
an invention. What kind? Oh, you know, the invention kind.
The invention kind?
Then he drove back to the Henderson flat, told Rose that her husband had fallen ill and she must come with him. She
Oh,
does.
he's going to fucking kill her too?
She dies.
Fucking guy.
This guy's a
She
straight up
dissolves.
This guy's a straight up genius con man murderer. I didn't see this coming. I thought maybe he was going to be a con man.
This guy's a hustler. Is what he is.
Oh, dude.
He's a hustler, baby. From there,
He
the
just
next
wants
steps
you to
were
know.
easy. He pawned off their various pieces of jewelry and other small valuables. He forged another power of attorney letter, using that to sell their property. He kept their car and their dog. He wrote letters.
He kept their fucking dog?
He eventually gave it to a kennel because he got bored of the dog. But yes, he kept their dog.
Oh, this guy's fucking scary.
He wrote letters from the Hendersons who were traveling.
Off with your dog. Go on, both of you.
kind of talented Mr. Ripley shit is
Yeah,
this? He
peace
kept
out.
the dog.
Peace out. I keep him till he poops. Get out now that you've pooped in the house. Go, 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 go.
He wrote letters from the Hendersons who were traveling up and down Britain.
Signed the Hendersons.
He was actually the one traveling.
Signed
sending-
Harry and the Hendersons.
Is this the fucking reason that Harry and the Hendersons was made? This story?
Yep, that's it.
John.
I should have known the John George.
They met a
He
big
wrote the
ape
Harry and
named
the
Harry.
Hendersons. All of the things you ever heard of from England and beyond are from this story.
He wrote
And
letters.
Tom Hanks ripped off this guy's life in every movie he's ever done.
Tom Hanks is a total asshole. Hashtag me too. Go on.
He wrote letters from the Hendersons, then traveled up and down Britain, sending them from various locations to show that the couple was traveling.
Oh, man, he even had their Instagram account. Look at the sunset I did on my sailboat. I'm
Yeah.
one of the Hendersons.
This is like the old-timey version of checking in places you're not even at. You know what I mean? Like, but I can't believe you can do that. That you can just check in and lie to people. Like, oh, Skyler checked in at Disneyland. Nope.
Well,
I'm
then
at
now
home.
you understand that people can still do these things these days.
Eventually.
You know
a
what?
blog
I've been
for these
turned
people.
around.
Write a blog, you know?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Seriously, get on it.
Eventually, they even wrote from Geneva to say they would be taking an extended holiday to South Africa. Of course, this was all funded by the 8,000 pounds that they left behind, around $400,000.
He's just traveling around as them with their traveler's checks. Like, yeah, yes, now I'm in South Africa. What a wonderful time.
Well, he traveled to Geneva and then wrote a letter to people being like, well, we're going to South Africa. We'll see you eventually, I guess.
Hopefully we go get eaten by lions and then disappear off the face of the planet.
That would be unfortunate if we pet a lion like we're planning and then he turned on us.
Is that in there? I was just riffing, but is that in there?
No, that's a riff that I joined in with.
You're a real piece of work, Slaton.
Within a year, he was out of money and it was time to hit the bank again.
AKA the bank, meaning he's got to kill someone?
This time he turned to one of his wealthy widows, Olive Durand Deacon. Mrs. Durand
All
Deacon.
right, another fake name. Seriously.
Yeah. Deacon Blues. Steely
Mrs.
Dan
Durand
reference
Deacon
there?
had lived at the Onslow Hotel for over 6 years.
I killed this
Moving
old
in.
lady.
By
and
the way,
spent
already
all
one of my favorite people. If
money.
you lived at a hotel for an extended
yeah.
period of time in your life, you're
Fucking
my idol.
badass, right?
Like Matt Damon lived, I guess, at the Beverly Hills Hotel for like literally 3 years. I'm like, yeah, you did.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
It's badass, right? You never have to worry about it. You don't have too much complication of like, hey, should I do this? Should I clean this room?
Nothing.
You just get up, live your life.
Yeah.
Someone's going to give you little shampoos. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Scrambled eggs are $72. Not a big deal, though. Okay,
But he's an actor.
You're
You
Matt
just
Damon.
Build the studio, bro. That's what I always say to everyone.
Build the studio.
Build the studio.
Yeah, these waters right now, I build the studio.
Build the studio.
Yeah, they're Niagara. It was in my contract.
This is Icelandic water right here.
She moved in after her wealthy husband had passed away. She was well-bred, well-mannered, and well-moneyed.
What's well-bred mean? She was like a pretty lady?
It means that she came from good stock.
Well-moneyed is not a saying.
Yes,
you made
it is.
that up.
No, it is. Well-moneyed is the same.
Well-moneyed?
It's well-bred that I was wondering about because she's not a dog. She's a human being, Slaton.
Well-moneyed just feels like you got wiped with money. Like yeah, it's
That's
just, well.
that's how I do it.
I'd like to get
I have
wiped
so
with
much.
money.
She means you have so much money that you wipe with money.
Okay.
Like in Dumb and Dumber, like blow your nose on a $100 bill. This commercial's so sad.
She wore
so
a
sad.
I
new
love that
gown.
scene.
Right?
She wore a new gown to dinner every night, often adorned with jewelry worth 500 pounds,
I'm like the lady from Titanic.
around $25,000.
Oh, yes. Look at this. You could buy a Kia with one of these.
Even at the expensive hotel, her accessories alone would cover his rent for over a year.
I've got to kill this bitch.
He was already behind by 50 pounds, plus another 83 in overdraft.
Just seeing like the gears working in a murderer that like makes his money off his victims is so funny. He's like, shit, I gotta pay rent. Time to get to work. He's gotta find someone to kill. He's stressed out.
I need a new gig.
His friends are like, what's going on, man? Oh, money's just tight right
It's
now.
just the gig economy, man.
Yeah.
It's really rough
I
on
haven't
me.
killed any
Gig
widowers.
economy.
I haven't killed any widowers for a while, man.
But as luck would have it, Mrs. Durand Deacon was bored with sitting around the hotel, and she had an idea for a new business. One that her new friend, being an engineer, as he said,
Oh, he lies about it being
could help her with. She wanted to design and manufacture her own brand of a new popular fashion accessory, fake fingernails.
fucking boring, although that's going to sell big.
Ooh, yeah.
It's fucking
Like,
boring, but $1 billion.
We laugh about it now, but back then it's probably, you know.
So this is the lady that invented fake fingernails?
She didn't invent them, but she wanted to start her own company to make them.
Okay.
He, of course, thought it was a splendid idea
Splendid
and invited her to his factory to see his operation.
Would you like to see my, quote, operation?
As she bent over to look at a material sample,
He pinched her butt. I can't resist either. I know what he's going
shot
through.
her in the head, which is like pinching your butt, but more deadly and less hashtag.
You said that's like
Touch the side and the nose turned red.
Same as before, he took her valuables,
You didn't get it.
No,
lugged
but-
her large body into the tub, and filled it with acid. While the chemical worked its magic,
like the good kind of acid, man.
he took in a 3-course dinner at a local hotel, courtesy of the cash in her wallet.
Wow, old lady, you're going to trip balls.
The next day, people were asking questions.
Natch.
It was not like her to miss dinner and tell no one of her plans. Furthermore, she had told her friends that she was going to meet John George to discuss her fingernail plan. He told everyone that she hadn't shown up.
They've got to get a better name for the plan than that. The fingernail plan?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Fingernail plan.
as a young investor, I'm just not feeling it with the fingernail plan.
It just sounds like a corny early '90s kids movie. You like with the star
fingernail
from Curly
plan?
Sue, like the little girl from Curly Sue, like the fingernail plan.
I always thought of fingernails like from,
It's a sequel to Blank Check.
Exactly.
you know how circumcision is like a sacrifice to God? I was always like, why don't they just give God like fingernail clippings? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if God likes some weird little clipping of end of things, like give him that.
Give him
Like,
that. Yeah.
leave
Stop
the kid,
chopping dicks off and
leave the
killing
kids'
bears.
dicks alone and the
Yeah.
clits alone, and just give them some fingernail choppings, right? Is that?
He told everyone that she hadn't shown up for the meeting.
Bitch flaked!
He went back to check on the acid bath, but Mrs. Durand Deacon, being a rather large woman, still hadn't fully disappeared.
Dissolve, you fat bitch! You big fucking cow, you know? Just get liquidated.
It'd been a day, and people began to get worried. It was unlike her to miss an appointment.
Mrs. Stenchkorps, where are you? We're looking for you in the lobby.
Her best friend, Constance Lane, told John George that she was going to file a missing persons report. In order to stay ahead of the situation, he volunteered to go with her, filing his own report as well.
Oh, so that he could make it official, like his lies official? Mm-hmm. You see, at 8:30, I was waiting, and I never saw her. So I got worried myself.
Strangest thing.
Strangest thing. Very odd. Very
The
awkward.
next day, the cops came by the hotel to conduct interviews, discovering that a certain someone was oddly often late with his rent. But John George had no idea the cops were now looking at him.
Oh, because of him being late for rent, they're like, so this old rich broad is in the hotel. She's going up missing. This other dude keeps staying with the hotel. He's late on his rent. I'm smelling some sort of connection here. There's
Yeah.
New York cops in England. They're
Yeah.
the ones who solve the crimes. English never solve crimes.
Every time.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes? No.
Standard.
Sherlock Holmes Skillet from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's who solves the crimes.
Yeah.
Sherlock Homeboys. Am I right? You better not edit that out, Slaton. I'll break your fucking pinkies.
He had
Ad Rockefeller.
Aesop Rock, detective.
Yeah.
Atmosphere, the other detective.
He had no idea they were closing in because he was too busy trying to figure out what to do with Mrs. Duran Deacon, who was stubbornly refusing to dissolve
Oh, really? Because she had so much fat?
because she was so big.
You just see her in there, her lips are like, you ain't gonna dissolve me, motherfucker. Like, just these floating lips, like, I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, it's so gross. I'm just
Bouncing
imagining,
around
like,
the acid.
can you imagine just a corpse just chilling in your hotel room and like being like, God damn it, the corpse is still here. Like you can't tell anyone to help you out. It's probably smells, right? Or does it not smell because of the acid?
It's in this rural workshop.
Oh yeah, it's not. It's not
He
a
took her
hotel
to the
room.
same place that he killed the Hendersons.
That's his spot. That's his spot. His safety spot.
So it's not, but it's not the basement that he had in London where he killed the McSwans.
Okay.
Now he's at a workshop out in kind of like rural.
Okay, thanks.
In a rural area.
But just to be honest, I knew that. I've been listening very well. I knew exactly what was going on.
To speed up the process, he removed some of the human sludge, replacing it with more acid. Unlike his London murder basement,
A regular Gordon Ramsay chef over here, huh?
this one lacked a drain. So instead, he poured the buckets out in the yard.
The acid buckets?
No, it's
Goopy acid, right? Or it's just goop?
So what he's trying to do is get this dissolved, to get her to dissolve faster.
Yeah, he's
taking some of the person goop out of the.
Can I just say you're
bath,
gonna make me fucking gag right now?
and then he's
Person
pouring
goop?
the person goop into the yard, and then replacing that with more acid to help, change the consistency.
Seriously makes me want to barf. Person goop.
Whatever, not a big deal. Let's go get some food. Unlike, he didn't have a drain, so he pours it in the yard. He returned that night to the Onslow, where he was greeted by a pair of inspectors. He thought
Inspector Dick.
they were simply there to
And
follow
you
up.
God.
That's
and
right.
What's up, motherfucker?
Wu-Tang solving crimes over here. Guilty as a muffer.
Shit.
He thought they were simply following up on the missing persons report.
What were they following up on? There's slime in your backyard, and we're curious as what's going on
But
here.
he didn't know that after learning about his payment issues, they checked up on him and learned of his lengthy criminal record. But they didn't let on. So John George went through business as usual.
While he's being kind of watched?
He sold off the widow's belongings. He returned to the workshop and poured the remaining sludge into the yard. He gave more statements to the police, showing how eager he was that they find his missing friend.
Please, I love her. We were so close. I hope she's all right, really.
He even gave an interview to reporters where he criticized the investigators.
They're not searching hard enough. That's my biggest complaint. They really aren't looking.
Quote,
Seriously, you haven't even figured out it's me yet. Oh, whoops.
I wish I could
Could you say
tell
that again? The recorder wasn't on. What did you say?
I wish I could tell you how accurate you are, because here's the quote he gave the
Oh,
papers.
see.
Wow.
The police are a lot of imbeciles. They couldn't catch colds. They have nothing on me, but even if they had, they'd never prove it.
The police are imbeciles.
To
They
an
couldn't
intelligent
catch
man
codes.
like me, these coppers are children.
I was supposed to read that, you know.
Dude, he's just taunting them at that point.
Yeah. You want to read it now?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Dude, he makes public statements the way Trump tweets, dude. This guy's like, yo, catch me if you can. Oh, that's my third reference.
The police are a lot of imbeciles. They couldn't catch colds, if you know what I mean. That the colds, like you couldn't catch colds. They have nothing on me, but even if they had, they'd never prove it. To an intelligent man like me, these coppers are children.
These cops and Robertsons, starring Jack Palance, are children.
He had no clue that they had tracked his recent whereabouts to the workshop, where they found the tub, the pump, his rubber clothes, the revolver, and a receipt for items sold to a pawn shop.
This is like a fucked up version of Clue.
Yeah, there's
the pump, the glove.
That's right. Yeah. This is from the just detective perspective. They're like going through this shit and being like having like eureka moments. We're like, jackpot. Holy
I think it was John George in the basement with the pump.
Yeah, and then the detective's like, you know what? I think my suspect is John George, the murderer. He's most likely at fault.
I thought we made a deal.
Dissolving body.
I thought we made a deal.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. We did. You're
what I
right.
thought.
I'm stopping right away. Right away, sir. I'm halting what I was doing. I am so sorry.
John George.
Sulfuric acid burned him.
I should have made the deal with both of you.
That's right. Now you understand the
I
importance.
didn't get to read shit, so I'm allowed
That's
to say
right.
the zone.
Now you understand the importance of contracts, Richard Slaton.
John George was arrested 2 days later. At his interrogation, he made a startling admission. Do you want to read this one so that you won't sing anymore?
No, you got it.
Okay. Mrs. Durand.
I'm not saying.
Actually, can we do? We'll do what's called it's a Hail Mary contract. If you let him read it, I'll let that count as the fact that I
Okay,
did.
starting from here.
All right.
Starting from there where my thumb is.
I'm sorry
Second
that we're like
paragraph,
children.
Second
Rich.
line. There's a quotation mark.
Mrs. Durand Deacon no longer exists. She's disappeared completely, and no trace of her can ever be found again. I've destroyed her with acid. Every trace is gone. How can you prove a murder if there's no body? You know, that's a rule.
So that's what he tells the investigator during his interrogation. Yeah, I killed her and I melted her with acid, but there's no body, so
It's so hilarious that he admits it, but he's like, I know the rules, and you have no body, so you can't
here
tell.
he was back at Corpus Delicti, the body of the crime.
Licking that corpse.
But I might be pronouncing that Latin wrong, by the way. I don't really care.
That's okay.
But he was wrong on
No,
two
I
counts.
like how you're pronouncing it.
Yeah.
Corpus Delicti.
But
he was wrong on 2 counts. First, he incorrectly interpreted the Latin corpus to mean a literal body rather than the figurative body of evidence.
Oh, dude, that's the thing with law is like interpretation is everything, Mafa.
So he thinks that without a body, they can't convict him of murder because he doesn't realize that body means like, well, no, the body of evidence that proves that a crime happened.
Haven't you guys ever met people that tell you like they give you like layman's like law advice and you're like, I don't know if that's true.
I think that's totally
This is
wrong.
one of those things. This guy's the whole life
If
is
you're a cop, you have to tell me.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't got to tell you shit. You're fucking under arrest.
Second, while they're
Could you like use this the other way though? Like if you made like an advance on a woman, like I want your body on mine. She's like, oh my god, me too. Hashtag me. And you're like, no, I meant your body of existence.
That's
right.
I'm trying to listen to your mind and your intellect. Can't believe you went there. I don't even know.
Now
that
you're objectifying me as a man.
Do you have boobs? I didn't even notice.
I didn't even notice. I'm actually gay. Yeah. That's right.
Second, while there wasn't an entire body, Mrs. Durand Deacon had not, quote, disappeared completely.
Did you say disappeared?
I did. Had not disappeared completely.
I was gonna say if you start to say that's a word, I'm gonna fucking. All right.
In the yard, the cops found 28 pounds of human fat, gallstones, foot bones, and a recently purchased set of dentures.
So she's dead.
No, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Trying to give her the old
Just trying to make
CPR.
sure everyone understands. That
Yeah.
And her
she's
dentist,
no longer with us.
No, you can't give her CPR.
If you will.
her dentist identified the dentures as being hers. So yeah, there's
She's passed on.
yeah,
per
she's-
se.
she's pretty dead.
She is a bucket of goop.
Yeah.
John George was more than a little surprised when he was charged with murder, but he still had one more trick up his sleeve.
But
He asked to speak with investigators and confessed to the murders of the McSwans, the Hendersons, and 3 other people. But the big surprise was when he claimed that before the acid bath, he drank his victim's blood.
What is it? It's the vampire law. I claim vampire.
Papers ran stories on the vampire killer. Shockingly,
What? I was just riffing.
John George followed up this revelation by entering a plea of not guilty due to insanity.
Oh, fuck. I'm from Transylvania, Your Honor. That's how we eat. Mm-hmm. Your Honor, as you can see, my client is butt fuck crazy. He's out of his gosh darn mind.
So at the same time, he has struck a deal with a local tabloid where he's writing his memoirs while he's in prison and they're buying them from him. And so he's publishing his life story saying like, oh, well, when I was a kid, the reason I joined the choir was because when I went to church, I saw the Jesus on the cross with the blood hanging down, and I became obsessed with blood. And I started drinking my own pee. And now, as a grown-up, I still drink pee, and I drink blood from my victims. Aren't I crazy?
And they're like, no, that's actually quite a good cure for laryngitis. I don't know if you read Dr. Andrew Weil. He's a naturalist.
The whole thing was a ploy to attempt to avoid the hangman's noose and instead be sentenced to Broadmoor Insane Asylum.
Oh, that sounds like a real fun experience at Insane Asylum in the fucking mid-1900s. Actually, that's better than the mid-1800s.
The jury only took 17 minutes to say fuck you and find him guilty.
Did they really say that?
Yes, he's.
Will the people of the jury please, what do they say? Read the verdict?
Hey, fuck you!
Fuck you!
Also, you're guilty if that wasn't clear by the fuck you part.
And then he looks at the judge like, are they allowed to speak to me that way? I'd like to drink their blood, sir.
He
Your
was
Honor?
sentenced to death.
Your Honor, I'd like a big gulp full of urine.
John George Haigh met the gallows on August 10th, 1949. Before making his walk, he was offered a brandy, to which he replied, "Make it a large one, old boy."
And put some blood in it, yes?
He left behind a will.
A Bloody Mary, if you will.
No blood? Maybe a little pee? No pee.
A celery stick and some bloody.
Somewhat ironically, for a man who faked power of attorney, he left behind a will with two main beneficiaries. To his parents, he left a large sum of money he received while in jail as payment for his memoirs. The other beneficiary was Madame Tussauds Wax Museum,
What?
which received the green suit and red tie he wore at his trial. It appeared on his wax figure in a display of famous murderers.
Wow.
And that's the story of John George Haigh.
I'm just tripped out. It literally just ended there. He got the death penalty. He went. They walked him to the gallows. He did die.
What year did he die?
1949.
Wow.
Dude, he paid. Well, he paid for his fucking crimes, dude. Let this be a lesson to our listeners,
Injection?
dude. This
No,
guy's paying for his crimes.
Hanging.
They hung him with a
They
leather
were still
strap.
doing that?
Yeah. They actually, when they
still hang it. They still hang it in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, they hung
today.
Saddam Hussein. You know
I
what
know
I'm saying?
that. I just didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, so they hung him with a leather strap that was one that they used specifically for like famous criminals. Like the guy who was the hangman, he had a specific noose that he used on like the big.
This one here's for the high profiles.
Yep.
It's like a great Christopher Guest movie scene. Like,
I always think of the guy from Blazing Saddles. I'm book solid, and he's just like hanging the guy and his horse.
yeah.
This one is a doozy.
Today's sources include Frenzy by Neil Root, a great book that talks about 3 different serial killers from the time who all sort of drove the beginning of true crime journalism in Britain from a real voyeuristic standpoint. And it was a big cover by the media.
Awesome.
Also, Serial Killer Quarterly, Volume 1, Number 4 by Aaron Elliott, Theopedia.com, and, of course, The Evil Robots at Wikipedia.
Is Theopedia just a website where you try and figure out what the fuck Theo Von's talking about?
No.
When he goes into like his little, he'll just do his
50-pound bag of hamster bones.
Yeah, he'll just talk about shit from Louisiana. We're like, dude, you are from a different world, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Gummo. You're from Gummo,
Yeah,
dude.
Theopedia. That'd be funny.
That's the story of John George Haigh.
That was great, dude.
La 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 la, John.
You guys promised. You promised.
I'm just clapping. I'm not even singing.
How dare you know I don't like clapping.
Melting
Guys,
little
I stopped.
femurs, melting little bones.
We gotta let. He's our guest. We gotta
Guys,
let
you can see Skyler Stone's really great show here at the Comedy Store. Is it every Thursday?
It's every other Thursday.
Comedy Rocks at the Comedy Store.
And once in a while on Sundays, but mostly Thursdays. When is this
Some
going
of
to
the
be
biggest
released?
names. They'll probably come out next week. Some of the biggest names in comedy.
Actually, would love to plug a specific one. I'm doing a really big benefit. A friend of mine named Doug Mark just lost his 12-year-old son.
Jeez.
And he wants to honor him. So he was a soccer prodigy. Like he's already being scouted by like major leagues. Like it was insane. And so we're raising $1.2 million to build a field on the west side of LA called Tommy's Field because his name was Tommy.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And so all these kids are going to play on this field, and the Los Angeles Galaxy is going to loan their logo, and it's going to be on the field, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. Our show, 100% of the door goes to that field. We're already $600,000 raised. We're halfway there.
Wow,
so this show's going to be great. It's going to be Sunday, August 12th, here at the Comedy Store in the main room, 7:30 p.m. Again, that's Sunday, August 12th. We've got Natasha Leggero, Tig Notaro. It's hosted by Laura Dern from Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Wow, yeah.
And that's going to be pretty cool. And then I've got texts out to like Dalia and Jeffrey. So if you see my lineups, I don't fail. We get like really big lineups. It'll be a great show.
Lineups,
Check out Comedy Rocks, and you can find Skyler on social media at
the Skyler Stone, and Skyler is spelled Skyler.
We'll have that linked in the show notes. You can also follow our show on all socials at CRiiiMEPod, CRiiiMEPOD. You can email the show, crimepodcast@gmail.com with any questions you have, comments, dick pics, label those for Shefsky. And
What was that noise?
that was the official dick pic noise.
official dick pic noise?
That's the new official dick pic noise.
That's the
from
quick
now
like
on.
one lump sum squirt.
We love you, criminals. You're the best. Keep committing those crimes. And bye, robot.
I'm a criminal. Criminal.
Guys, be good. Don't commit any crimes. Be good out there.